Good evening. As you can see, I'm not James Wilson. I'm Bea Brickhill from Creative Partnerships Australia. The project we're going to, I haven't seen these slides. The project we're going to be talking about is the CityArt project, which is an iPhone app. And basically,
We'll leave that for you. Go back.
So briefly, what it's about is Creative Partnerships Australia. We used to be called Australia Business Arts Foundation, company funded by the Australian government to encourage private sector support of the arts. So I'm the state director, work with arts organisations and business and to help them to work better with business, to look at developing good partnerships to do their business better. The CityArt project came about because I have a group of business people in the ACT who we call our chapter, and they're great advisors, and we sit around once every 2 months and say, well, what can business do to support the arts in the ACT? A couple of years ago, there was a lot of controversy about public art in the ACT, the amount of money that government was putting into it. And when everyone has the bits they hate, some people have the bits they like, it was controversial, it was wonderful. But what I discovered in some of the conversations we were having in the chapter was that there were actually a lot of people in the private sector who were putting money into art in public places. But in order for them to do it, they had to go through the myriad problems of doing anything in this town and the red tape. Is there any ACT government people here? I haven't said a word. So we started talking about what could be done to make it easier for private developers to do the kinds of things that was happening down at New Acton. And we sat and tossed it about, and the chapter members were also saying, we want a project to do for the centenary, what can we do? And so James Wilson from Creative came up with the idea of an iPhone app. The idea behind it was to encourage people to go and look and say, look, there's all this wonderful art in public spaces. It's not all provided by the government. There are companies doing it. There's the bits out at the airport, there's bits down at New Acton, there's the bits that Actu had provided. So really get people to understand what was out there and go and take a tour around and find out, rather than just driving down past the Owl on Belconnen Way and saying, or whatever you had a particular dislike for. That's my personal dislike. That's okay. Lots of things I do like. So we had this project, and the idea was, well, what do you do about it? So we looked at how you actually did something like this. We had a partnership between a company of the federal government, the private sector. We needed content. The most important thing if you're developing an app is you actually have to have some content. So we looked at where the content was. It was in Arts ACT, all of the government-funded works. So then we wanted to bring in the private sector works as well. So we had to find out what work was out there, because nobody knew every bit, and bring it all together. So we started talking to the developers, to the Molonglo, to Canberra Airport, to Village Building. What work is out there? What have you created that's in a public space? And that was probably the first and most important thing, was about partnership and to say, what is the content going to be? How it then happened, James at Creative had the idea. He knew how to develop an app. I wouldn't know what to do about it. So he talked to Agile Digital. We worked together as a project. Okay, ActuWard put in some money. We built the app, they built the app, concise brand, deciding what we wanted. The most important thing was it needed content, so the stakeholder buy-in was important. We launched the app, which is an interesting project. We have plaques on each of those public artworks so that you can click against you have a little plaque by the work, you can click your iPhone against it, or you can pick up one of these going into hotels and various places. You can click against it, it tells you how to get onto the website, how to download that work. Got some media coverage. We launched online and offline. release to the Apple Store, and start a conversation. So we work with Canberra Tourism, we work with the hotels, we work with Canberra Airport. There you see, that's the app, that's the little plug, now sits beside those works. I'm going to go on to the lessons that we learned. I think the most important things to say about this. For an app, if you're going to do an app, it's got to be promoted offline, or else you're never going to find it online. Don't undertake the idea alone. It's about the partnerships. You can have this idea, fantastic ideas, you need to work with other people to make those ideas come about, and you all bring in, as we've heard, you bring in your specialities. The opportunities for an app are endless, but it comes down, could go global, but it comes down to getting the content. So thank you to all the people who are involved. I've got some of these. Next time you see any of those works, stop, get the picture, download the app and pass it on, because it's a way of finding out what the private sector and the public sector are doing really well in Canberra.